everyone, Dustin Zahner with Creating the Difference. Today we're going to be talking about looking at and how to really have a basic understanding of lane graphs. So we have a couple different patterns here. The first thing you're going to want to take note of is the oil pattern distance. This oil pattern distance is 39 feet. That's obviously translated down here. This pattern's distance is 43, translated here, and 35 for this pattern. So you'll often hear patterns broken down into three categories: short, medium, and long. 35 feet would be considered a short pattern, 39 feet would be considered a medium pattern, and 43 feet would be considered a long pattern. So the next thing to really look at is the volume of the pattern. So this is going to be our lowest volume here, 23.045. The medium pattern has 26.755, and the short pattern has 24.75. So there's just a couple things to look for when you're just glancing at these sheets. And the next thing to look at is the ratio. You can see the ratio right here. So this ratio is 1.84 to 1. So this would mean this pattern is pretty flat. And if you look at the graph, there isn't really a whole lot of taper, if any at all, in this pattern. Same thing with this one right here. Or actually, this is the opposite. This is 3.63 to 1. So you can see that there's actually a little bit more taper. Does not mean this pattern is going to be easy by any means, but it's definitely going to be easier than the 35-foot pattern. So next, moving to the 43-foot pattern, we got a 3.13 to 1. Again, you see that taper in the middle of the lane. So comparing the long pattern and the medium pattern to the short pattern, these two are going to play easier than this one, on paper anyways. Now, when you're looking at these, like, where do you start? Like, where should you try to start in the fresh? A good rule of thumb on a short pattern is to start further to the right, playing either straight up the lane or just slightly open launch angles. And you'll see a lot of people using urethane on these short patterns because the whole goal is for the ball to hook early and be lazy down lane, because when you're on a short pattern, the whole goal is going to have the ball use its energy earlier, so you don't have lots of violent reactions when it comes off of the end of the pattern. For the 39-foot pattern, you're going to be having, the benchmark balls or the slightly bigger traction balls going down the lane being further in on this pattern. The 43-foot, you're going to be further inside again relative to the short pattern where you're going to be playing on the outside. And this sort of pattern, you're going to be seeing some traction balls going down the lane because you're going to want to have that bigger ball to be able to, make the move before it leaves the pattern, because it's not going to have a lot of room once it leaves the pattern. So just a couple tips when you're really looking at these lane graphs. And if you have any questions and need more information, check us out at ctvbowling.com. Dustin Zahner with Creating the Difference. Have a great day.